I'm doing good, and I'm not sorry for whatever I liked at this Game Awards nominees and what I didn't like. It is going to be a hot one today. I can already tell you that. Mhm. I have. Thus why I'm hot. I am I am already ready to begin my rant because it should. Well, you explain it and then I'll explain my opinion. Mhm, mhm. So I this is this very big slippery slope. I think so. I should preface with I have no idea what the Game Awards nominees are today. Okay, I um I worked all day, so I have no context as to what the nominees are. But I did see the statement last week, and I was hot. I wasn't liking this because honestly, a DLC expansion should be like categorized in its own category. Like I know that like there are certain expansions that are game length and should absolutely get recognized. I mean, you know, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, well deserved on its praise. I mean, I haven't played it, but it's a well deserved. From what I've heard about it, it's a well deserved praise for its expansion into the game. But I mean, there's plenty of it's a slippery slope of what gets considered and what doesn't get considered for the Game Awards. That it could be. So my best example kind of thinks I'm thinking too is like what does that do for like a game that's like a fighting game like Super Smash Bros or like or like Mortal Kombat or like anything that has like DLC characters. And so like you get to the end of that, say it was nominated for Game of the Year several years ago, maybe it even won. What does that mean um when it gets nominated once its final DLC comes in to play and it's now a completed package? Like there's just a little bit of a what categorizes what. And like I mean I'm we've had you know there are so many great expansions that I've played that are sometimes borderline better than the game itself. Like the base game that absolutely deserves any recognition. But as it doesn't count because like it doesn't count as a full game. It never has. And like when we recognize it as like with an expansion is like how does that there's so much like even to my mind like right now there's like so many questions that comes up of like what categorizes what because now I just thought to myself technically Valhalla is a It's a possible Game of the Year nominee, like God of War Ragnarok, because it's it's an expansion that came out literally that day of the Game Awards, so it's definitely in the in contention for this year, if we're considering that. And it's just like, where's the line? That's what I want to know. Exactly. Mhm. Oh yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah. Mhm, mhm. Right. And then say one of them gets snubbed. Say one of those gets snubbed. It's like I think that's a big thing for me. It's like, I mean, there's just so many variables. Like there's so many what ifs that it needs to be its own category. Um so I don't quite agree with the committee's decision on that. I think they should have I think it should they absolutely needed to make a statement. I think it should have been the other way around though. I really think they should have came out and said, "Hey, while we recognize that expansions can bring a certain level to the game, to a game, it is not a we recognize the game that has came out that year." Because I mean, you can make an even case of like one of the biggest things that's plaguing the video game industry is incomplete games. Right? It's incomplete at launch, and then like they're like, "Okay, we'll fill it in with DLC for the rest of the story." Like that is the type of precedent that would suggest. Like, like I think of right. Mhm. Right. Right. Mhm. Mhm. 22. Sorry, 20. Oh, really? Mhm. 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 I just think it's a oh, go ahead. Mhm, mm. I just think it's a bad precedent for DLCs and expansions. Like it I don't think it helps any like if you have a great expansion, I don't think it helps recognizing it. I don't. I I think its own category would be more sufficient for that. And then I also think it enables bad DLCs and bad business practices. I think it enables the less care on launch and more care on, oh, we'll rush the product out so we can get the sales of it and then go back to it and see if it's a hit, we'll go back to it and finish it out. I mean, it's very much like that age old type of situation about discussion about expansion and DLCs. Like, when you play the base game, sometimes you are just paying for the license to play. And I just think it sets a bad precedent. I don't like it, but like you said, it is just the Game Awards, and it's like, I mean, it is just an award show, but I don't think a lot of it is to enable the Game Awards is just a corporate way of, um like, as far as the studio side of things, like the actual game publishers and everything, it's just a way for them to use for marketing, and I think we need to take that into consideration. And yeah, I think I've ranted for too long on it, but I have strong feelings on it. Oh, that's foreboding. Okay. All right. Mhm. Mhm. So, um the way I'm going to do this is because I know we have the website pulled up. I'm going to have you list off the nominees for me, and then I'll go and yep, I'll have it minimized. Live. Mhm. Mm. Same here. Is that the subtitle on the beach? Where did I miss that? When did that get announced? Could have been it could have been a Keely Kojima plan too. Oh, I can't remember. Mhm, mm, mm, mm. Well, that goes into the discussion of, is it actually coming out in 2025? Like, that one I'm like, "That go down next year." As much as it absolutely is a most anticipated game, and it is my most anticipated game, and do I think this one wins out of this whole entire category? Yes. Because no disrespect to any of the other four, because obviously there's a big following to every single one of those games, but there's a bigger following to Grand Theft Auto than anything on this. Honestly, there's probably a bigger following on Grand Theft Auto than all of these combined. Mhm. Yeah, I think it always goes back and forth. To be honest with you, that much less so now, but back in their primes, I think it went back and forth all the time. Oh, really? Where's the Tomb Raider adaptation this year? Oh, this was the anime. Okay, okay, okay. Mm. You think Arcane's going to take it? Hmm. I think personally, I think I might move to Knuckles too, just because it was fun for me. Um, but it wasn't like it wasn't like we said it then. It wasn't like groundbreaking television, you know. So I gotta go with yeah. I think, to be honest with you, I think see, here's the thing. Arcane was a great adaptation. Um and I think it did get recognized its first season. Um I don't think it wins out this season. Mostly the problem is it's Arcane's too new. Didn't that season just come out? I think I think Fallout actually gained quite a surprising bit of following to non gamers out there. So, I mean, to me, I think Knuckles is the personal favorite, which I'm voting right now for Knuckles. But I think Fallout gets it. I would not be surprised if Fallout does it. I meant, you know what I meant. Mhm, mhm. It depends if they're looking at it as a series or just a season. But then again, the newest season could be great for all I know. I haven't actually watched it, but so, so some of our viewers are going to be like, "What are you talking about? It's not even close." To which I'll say, "Fair enough." Mhm, mhm. I think. Oh, what a snub that would be! Activision just losing their minds because they lost. Oh, that'd be kind of great. Um, so Call of Duty's always a really strong, like, favored to win in this category every year because it's just so big. Um, whether or not you like that certain title, be a strong um it'll still be a strong competitor. But the I think Helldivers 2, question is, did it get Game of the Year nominated? That's the question. I would have said yes, but it died in popularity quite a bit. I just think it was too big, and honestly, I haven't played any of these games this year, so I'm just gonna go with Helldivers. How dare they? No, no, no. Yeah, I'm abstaining my vote because just out of pure frustration. Mhm, 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 mhm. I'm I also have never played any of these games, so I'm just gonna go with you. I'm gonna take your word for it. And that, to be also honest, that is the only one I've heard of out of these five. So, mm, mhm, mhm. Hmm. Ah. Well, there goes into the discussion whether or not you do you consider Shadow Generations a game or an expansion? Hmm. That's a hard. Hmm. I I will agree with you. It is a big snub just out of kind of looking at just the nominees itself. Like I don't. Well, actually, there's a few things that I'm surprised got nominated over the other. Um, like to me, there's like three of the nominees seem right to me. That makes sense. As far as this category goes. However, the Plucky Squire and Princess Peach Showtime does not make sense to me when you do have like there was also the Mario and Luigi game that came out, which is oh, okay. I don't know what the deadline is. I tried looking it up the other day. I couldn't find an answer on that. And then like you said, Sonic Generation, Shadow Generations. Oh, mhm. Oh, I have to play. I have yet to play it. I really want to play it. Hmm. That's a big odd one. It's just a remaster. They're not even like anything changed with it. It's just. Mhm. Yeah, probably. It's technically a fighting game, and it's Marvel. Mhm. Mhm. I think I would agree to everything you just said. I would have echoed those same thoughts, except I haven't played Grand Blue. That's the only thing. Oh, that's true. Okay. Okay. Oh boy, here we go. Okay. Okay. Cool. 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 Hmm. Hmm. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Full send. This is just going to be a full send type of voting for me. If FF7's on the ballot, it's getting not. It's getting voted. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. It's no secret. There's been no competitor for me this year. Um, I mean, there's been great games that I've played this year, but there's not on the same level. So it's very clear as to what I would be voting for. Mhm, mhm. Mhm. Okay. Mhm. Okay. Fair enough. Oh my gosh. So I'm sorry. I have to go back to it. This is not about. So this is called best RPG, right? It, this is not about an expansion. I'm sorry. It's just not. It, I'm frustrating. It's like you could make a case for game of the year a little bit, but like you really can't make a case for best RPG. That to me uh, that's so here we go. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's impossible to predict every year. I mean, this is like in those type of categories between best RPG, best action adventure, best action, like kind of those three categories, or best performance, best narrative. Those categories are very much like any of those could get could be the clear winner in that. So it's just kind of impossible to predict. So. Hmm. 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 Yeah, but there's not a category for horror, is there? Mhm, 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 mhm. I will say none of these nominees are surprising to me. Um, I even if no matter what you say about the opinion on Star Wars Outlaws, it's it's got Star Wars in the title. It's going to get nominated. S- right, or it's a extremely competitive year, but I don't think it was an entirely competitive year in this category. Um, And yeah, I'm definitely giving it to Astrobot on this one. Even though, so here's the thing, like I am taking into consideration Astrobot from the PS5 demo. And if I've heard that it, the actual game is 100 times better than the demo, like the hard yeah. Yeah, I'm going to give it the edge unless it's game of the year. If it pops up in a category without Final Fantasy VII, I'll probably vote for it. Yep. Mhm, 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 mhm. Okay. This is very much the Final Fantasy 16 debate from last year of like, wouldn't Blade be kind of considered an RPG as well? Mhm, mhm, mhm. Okay. Mhm, mhm. Um, I'm going to give. See, I haven't played any of these games yet. Um, but I think it's very clear what I'm going to be voting for. Um, it's even this is this is so dumb because I'm like, uh, contradicting my whole entire argument today, but like, oh, I wanted to play the game before, and as far as convincing me to play the game, like out of all these, the one I want to play is Stellar Blade, and it helps from the DLC expansion, the free DLC expansion, and not just like your normal like crossover DLC. There's a little bit more attention to detail to it. Like there's a it's not just like there's more than one character that's going to be involved with it. It's sometimes you don't get that. Sometimes it's just the one popular character. So yeah, maybe I talk too much. Maybe you don't know much about it, but I won't. I won't. hmm No, it's a dying it's a dying uh style. I don't even want to call it a genre. It's like a style, a feature. hmm Yeah, I voted for Batman because he's Batman, but it's such a bad excuse. But like, yeah, I'm like either borderline abstaining or just voting because he's Batman. And I'll give it a little credit. I did hear that at least this game was a lot better than the previous Arkham VR games. So I will. I That's the real reason why I'm voting for it. It's not like I have no idea as far as the other games, but like it gets a pity vote for A for effort, type of thing. hmm 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 Well, the best mobile game it didn't get nominated this year. I'm sorry, it just didn't get nominated. I already know it without hearing it. Best mobile game didn't get nominated because it didn't come out. Sorry. Mm-mm. Actually, I might have. No, I might have. I might have. Oh, okay. Mhm. Mhm. Mm. Okay. So you're saying I should vote for it too? Really? Okay. I was just actually thinking today. I was just thinking today. I need another phone game. Hmm. Hmm. Mhm. Mhm. Not that we've really hit those categories yet, but I'm seeing a lack of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on these nominees. Just wanted to point that out. I mean, not that it would have fit in any other category. Maybe best family. Maybe best family. It's a family game. I'm just joking. No, 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 it doesn't. It has multiple endings. Uh-huh. Mhm. 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 Gotcha. Sure. We're having a clean sweep on Balatro right now. Yep. Okay. Mhm. Okay. 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 Mhm. Mhm. Oh, no. Yeah. Because, well, the only one you kinda could probably get a little bit of is maybe Helldivers 2, but honestly, eh no. Actually, now that I think about it, does Sony count as part of the community support? Because if Sony does count, then absolutely not, because of the whole controversy of the PlayStation subscriptions. Uh, yeah, Fortnite, does a pretty good job. Um, as always. And same thing as FF14. So yeah, I think Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate by a landslide. Hmm. Yeah, it it dived after. It had about a good 4 month lifespan. I think the big thing that they need to do is bigger expansions, but yeah, that comes in time. Mhm. 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 I forget FF14 had a pretty big expansion this year. Um, no, it was a week before Shadow of the Erdtree. Yeah, they said you had 1 week. Or no, it was maybe it was the week after or something like that. Um, gotcha. Um, God, this is tough. I think I well, I might be mad at myself for voting for Fortnite. Because I'm tired of voting for Fortnite sometimes, despite the fact that I play it all the time. I mean, it had a good year. I enjoyed this year. I don't really have, say what you want about the whole car issue, and then the Marvel overpowered weapons, but like it's Marvel, so they have to have overpowered powers and weapons. So yeah, I'll give it a Fortnite. I don't think it's going to win, but I'll give it a Fortnite. Is Helldivers 2 really consider? Oh, I'm sorry. I guess it's like is Helldivers 2 new too soon? Too new? I mean, it was like 10 months ago, but like yeah, I was just thinking that. Mhm. Mhm. Because it's not like because it's also not like accessibility too. Because that's what you could probably categorize games for impact as well. But like accessibility is its own category. Right. Mhm. 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 Oh yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Right. I'm just gonna abstain from this one. I I just have nothing to talk about with it. Right. Okay. Mhm. Ooh, ooh. Good call. Okay, I like that. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Mhm. Gotcha. Yeah. I thought they were gonna be mean and put Brianna White and Britt Baron on here, and I was gonna be forced to choose which. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All 3 of them just dominating the nominees list, and I was gonna be like, "Who to choose?" Mhm. I You know what? I would probably pick that too just because I can't I historically can't choose between the 2, so It is Sephiroth, right? Exactly. Oh, he's a great Sephiroth. He's the I always find it funny. It's like whenever it's so funny because you know, in real life I see him as Superman, and then whenever Sephiroth is on the screen, literally am like, my God, this guy is terrifying. And I don't even picture it. Like I didn't even know in FF7 a remake that he was playing Sephiroth. It got to the point it was the credits and I saw his name pop up and I'm like, "No way." I did not see it and I still can't see it. Like he's got such a good Sephiroth voice that I can't like yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Yep. Yep. Don't think it'll win this category, but I think Astro. Yeah. Mhm. 100%. I knew it was gonna do. I was like, when he mentioned that, I was like, "Oh, they're not gonna pop up until best score again, aren't they? Together." And I'm gonna be even more upset about the fact that. But mhm. Yep, you gotta. I get you. Which, oh, by the way, isn't that is not on Spotify. So this is kind of going back to a conversation that we were having the other day. I check on this on the daily, and that was the one that I was checking that day and popped up. 16th soundtrack finally popped up. Oh my gosh. Anyways, that's off topic, but no, there's not. Yeah. Mhm. Art direction? Either Neva or Black Myth, to be honest with you. I think I might go with Black Myth. No, I'm actually basing off of from the trailers of from what I've seen. So I've seen um trailers for both Neva and Black Myth Wukong, and as far as art direction goes, I got to give it to that. I mean, it's not going to get any other category by me, I think, but I think that that earns it. Mhm. I mean, like, yeah, yeah, like to me, I can't make this like it can't be not best narrative. Like it's like this story is so um close to my heart that like I can't just not vote for the story. Like I can't. So, but yeah, easy vote on that one. I was just choosing the same thing. Mhm, there's so many components. Yeah, there's a creative director. There's a uh, essentially like a production director. Like there's a lot of different categories of director as far as game direction goes. Mhm, 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 mhm.
I just gotta say it. It's bothering me. It keeps popping up. It's making me nervous because if Final Fantasy VII loses to Elden Ring: Shadow of the Erdtree, if they're both nominated for Game of the Year and they lose, I am going to lose my mind. I I don't know what I will do, but I can imagine it might be the end. It might be the end for the Game Awards for me. I might be so upset. Like, it was, like because this year's, like, the year, you know? And, yeah, I'm getting so worked up about a technicality right now. Mm. Mhm. Really? Mhm. There are quite a few snubs in there. Mhm. Mm. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. The the only one I would accept out of this category that would win Game of the Year over Final Fantasy VII would be Astrobot. Metaphor's got a strong case, but at least that would be my personal opinion. But I still there's a clear winner for me. I will say go ahead. Mhm. Yeah. I will say it is really nice to see Final Fantasy VII nominated for Game of the Year. I might be really strongly opinionated about this, but, like, I will say it is very satisfying to see because, I don't think 7 Rebirth I mean, sorry, 7 Remake, got even close to being nominated for Game of the Year, even though it should have, but, uh, it got nominated for Best Score, I believe, but I don't think it got nominated for Game of the Year. Um, and, so, I mean, I don't even think FF16 got nominated for Game of the Year last year. It didn't.
Yeah, it was. Mhm, mhm. That's true. Mhm, I'm very much stewing over it. I'm like, you imagine if they didn't make that announcement? Oh my gosh, I would be upset. Right. Mhm. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Mhm. Yep, yep, yep. Oh, we got some breaking news. Yes, I apologize to interrupt. I'm very sorry. Um, this is the I I sorry, I'm like shocked that we're actually getting something. But we got missing link news. We got missing link news. Yep, yep, yep. Right, exactly. Didn't get best mobile game nomination. All of a sudden, they have to make an announcement. So, would you like me to read the tweet that has come out? Okay. So it says, we have been making preparations for the launch of Kingdom Hearts Missing Link in 2024, but we'll be waiting a little longer. We deeply apologize to everyone who was looking forward to this. We ask that you please wait for the next information. um, yeah. I got excited for a minute and then I was reading it and I was like, oh. But hey, finally some confirmation on it. Yeah. So we got news. Not good news. Sorry to interrupt. Apparently it wasn't that relevant. I just got it really excited and then nothing. Hmm. Hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Mhm. I'm actually not too upset about it, other than the Shadow of the Tree thing. A lot of that was kind of predictable. Surprised, a few didn't get on that list. But also not surprised at the same time. It was like one of those things where it could get on. It probably, you can make a case for why it should get on, but there's also some weaknesses to those games that probably is why it didn't get nominated. And the big two for me is Helldivers 2 and Stellar Blade. Just as far as popularity on those games, it's kind of success um can be like a big case for getting nominated, but it's like, there's, like I said, just weaknesses to it. And I could feel like if you're fans of those two games, you're probably a little salty about it, but it's not surprising. Mhm, mhm. Right. Mhm, mhm. Mm. Mm. Oh yeah. Mhm. Well, I think I was always a fan of Sonic, just even at a young age. Um, I was really introduced to Sonic as surprisingly enough, as from like throwing on Saturday morning cartoons, type of situation, and Sonic would be on. I got really invested when I was younger in that, and then I started playing the games. I played um like the original Sonic game, and you know my outside of that, I probably played a few other games at a friend's house, and you know nothing really too much besides that. But there was one Sonic game that I did have, but it wasn't a Sonic game. It was Shadow the Hedgehog, and I loved that game. That game was great. That was like the perfect age to play that game at the perfect time. It was a lot of fun. And you know, I look back on the game with a lot of nostalgia, despite the fact never beating it, but like I played a lot of it. And one of the big things for me is, I started to get back into Sonic once the movies started coming back into play. And, you know, I, I played like once Sonic 2 ended with teasing Shadow, that was like the goal for me. Like I was like hoping that one day we would get Shadow, and and we're getting Shadow, and I cannot be more excited about it. And so that really kind of prompted me back into you know what? It's been on my bucket list. I'm going to start playing some Sonic games, and this was the year of the backlog. Um, it still is, and it'll carry over into probably first quarter next year. I'm thinking at least maybe second quarter, which would be about a full year since Final Fantasy VII's release. So it really is a backlog year for me. And not saying that I'm all playing Sonic games, but you know, I had been sitting on Frontiers for almost 2 years, and I finally got to play it this year, and I played the entirety of it. Had a pretty pretty fun time with it. It's you know, we have a whole podcast episode dedicated to it, I think, and not a whole episode, but we there's a really long review on it. That's right. That's right. So, yeah, I remember about that. Yeah, it wasn't even a book club episode. I was just like, I'm gonna play this game in secret from Ezra, and and then try to beat it. So you know, I was kind of like, I had a lot of fun with it. I was like, when I got completed it, I was like, man, I kind of want to play another one, and I knew Shadow Generations was on the horizon. I didn't play Sonic Generations prior to that, so I was like, that's a pretty good one to kind of go into the past a little bit, but also experiencing something new with everybody. To me, that was I feel really happy about that. I'm glad I got to play it, and yeah, so I mean that's kind of my history. I've played throughout the entirety of Sonic Generations and Shadow Generations now, and yeah, I'm excited to dive in. Mhm. Okay. Uh huh. Mhm. 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 Because yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mhm. Right. Mhm. 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 It is. Mhm. 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 Oh, okay. Well, I think this is a a great celebration of just Sonic history. Um, like I think it it's a great examination of it all. Um, and for me, it was really fun to kind of like go back and to kind of experience almost everything all at once, and Frontiers does a really good job with its stages, kind of carrying on that same idea, um, with the cyberspace stages. Like that was a very clever use of it. So at first I was like, okay, so this is like this is very similar in that regard. Um, and you know, I I think the big thing for me is I really loved the stage designs. They were challenging, but like not too entirely difficult. It's a nice casual game to play. To be honest with you, it's you can kind of go, no pun intended, your own speed with it. Like if you really want to like do challenges, you can. If you don't, it's not like going to punish you for not doing that. So I really do appreciate that. Because sometimes games can lean heavy either way. I think I think it has a really good balance in that regard. Um, I think as a plot, it's super super simple. I think its plot is a little weak, to be honest with you. So its game structure works. The idea of it works for me, but I think the plot really drags it down a little bit. Um, and Not that like it has to have like the most groundbreaking plot ever, especially saying it's an anniversary game, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's especially saying it's an anniversary game. But it's it's that's kind of a little bit of its weaknesses. A lot of some of the boss fights were really good, like really fun, and then some of them were a little clunky. Um, I remember I remember having some frustrations of like, oh, this doesn't work. Like in comparison to like the way other boss fights have felt, and also the way the stages go, like it just feels like too different. If I guess that's it just doesn't feel like the same thing. Um, and so I mean, but yeah, it's a great celebration of like just the history and the bosses, and I as far as Sonic Generations go, I think it gets a nice 7.5 for me. Like it's a very average game, but it gets like that point 0.5 extra for just being a really good celebration. Um and I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. It was yeah, it's like the stages were like I mean, obviously the stages were 90% of the game, but like that was the funnest part for me. When I wasn't on a stage, then I was, for lack of a better term, kind of uninterested. um and but really there's not really much substance besides that. So mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah. Which boss fight? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm. Me too. Mhm. Mhm. Essentially, any mid-level boss fight was great. Like, the ones that was not, like, the direct boss fight was I had a great time with them. Mhm. 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 I would agree with that. Mhm. Mhm. I will say I'm glad to have finally played it. Like, it's another one off the list. It's like we talked about, we have the whole tournament bracket going, and now whatever's going up against it is now going to get that edge immediately. But like, that was up on my list, and that was one of the ones that I was most intrigued about as far as like observing, you know, what is playable and what is not. So I mean, as far as the Sonic games that are at my disposal right now. So um yeah, I mean, it was worth it. Well worth it. Mhm. 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 Especially seeing how harsh of critics they've been lately. Mhm. Right. Right. Mhm. 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 It is. So, I mean, it for me, it was like, okay, I got done with Sonic Generations. Now I got a pretty good idea of like what Shadow Generations is going to be like. Um, I wasn't expecting much meat to that story. I was like, okay, all right, it'll go into Shadow's past, and it'll be kind of like a celebration of kind of him throughout the years. And but I will say it has a much more engaging story. Like from the moment you kind of like begin the cutscenes, like uh, it really is like, oh no, no, we're not just going to like be celebrating it. We're giving you a shadow story. And I was like, okay, now I'm in. Like I was like, okay, and the just to like bring back, you know, Black Doom, and just kind of like it just felt like it was no time had left. Um, no time had left from the Shadow solo game. So like I I uh I immediately was locked in. I mean, the probably my favorite stage out of both games has to go with Space Colony Act 1 and 2. Like I think I really enjoyed those. Um it just was really well set up, and I like immediately, like, you could tell like the improvements they made, while also still feeling like the exact same type of setup as Sonic Generations was. Like it was like almost fluid, but at the same time, as far as like a transition, but at the same time, it was really cool to kind of mix in Shadow's, abilities that Sonic definitely doesn't have. And um I think they did an amazing job with it. Um I mean, I'm just talking about the beginning, and I'm sure we're going to talk through it, but the even when you get done and you're kind of like in the time space, I don't know what it's called. Um yeah, like the white space. It is so much better than the base game, like base Sonic Generations. Like it's just like it feels so it doesn't feel so closed off. It doesn't like it, you can spend as little time and as much time as you want in that area. There's like so it that to me, like, it almost feels like a true sequel, like to Sonic Generations. Like it just it feels like a sequel game. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Exactly. Yep. 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 Mhm. 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 He goes through all his pain again. Which I think is, like, is it that to me is a far more interesting concept than, like, even than the base story of Shadow. Like, it's like, "Oh my gosh, he went through all this pain, and now he has to relive it again." You know what I mean? Like, there's something about that type of twist. It Mhm. 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 Exactly, yeah. Mhm. 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 I I knew that that was probably I understood the story significance of it. I knew that that was something like like a probably a nod to Sonic Adventure 2. Um and I hadn't played that, so I don't have much connection to it, but I knew right away. I'm like, "Oh, that's not a half bad first boss." Like, as far as like a first boss choice. Because like I said, I know the story significance a little bit, but like and it's a great way to start things off, but I don't have much knowledge beyond that. Mhm. 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 Which Uh-huh. Gotcha. Were you happy to see that? Mhm. Okay. Mm. Mhm. 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 Gotcha. Mhm. Yeah. Mm. Mhm. 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 Really? I remember that one. Is that I'm just gonna look it up real quick because seeing it, I will remember it. Oh yeah, that was great. I love that. That's an easy second for me. Um, yeah, that was a lot of fun right there. Hmm. Pretty much. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. 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 Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I would agree. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Right. But I know what you're saying. Yeah. You might have one or two paths, but it's pretty direct. Right. Mhm. Exactly. Oh, yeah. It I call it the Mario Wonder effect. Mhm, 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 mhm. I don't think so either. Mm, mhm, mhm, mhm. Um, uh, so I can't remember what Metal Overlord was, to be honest with you. It's been a few weeks since I. Oh, yeah, 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 that fight where you're practically you're in the water the whole time. I loved it. I thought it was great. Um, I know it's kind of the opposite of what I was saying about Sonic Generations about, you know, kind of going completely um off script as far as how the gameplay is, but I really had a fun time with it. Um, it to me it was like I loved how I love how it was like I'm a superior version of you, and then I was like, no, you're not. It's just like the whole entire face just based on like no, you're not, and it's just like yeah, for me, I guess I might have been just really good at that stage, but I felt pretty strong in that fight. Like I was just having I was having the time of my life, but also at the same time, maybe that's its weakness that it might have been too easy. But mhm, mhm, mhm. No, and it's okay if you tell me. I was just curious. Okay, that's that's what I figured. Mhm, mhm. Gotcha. But Shadow wasn't in that game, was he? Oh, he was? Okay. Oh, really? Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Mhm. 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 Wow. So you and I had a really good time with this boss fight then. Is what I'm gathering. Mhm. 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 Exactly, yep. Mhm. 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 No, I don't think so. Wouldn't be a game I like without him. Well, now I'm going through. I'm gonna sit on that for a second. Kirk Thorne, yeah. Yeah. No, that was pretty obvious. I've arrived at the base. The moon calls to me. Exactly. Mhm. 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 Um, I I know a little bit more about the story about them. Um, so like I thought it was an interesting perspective bringing them back and kind of like it was almost kind of like toying with shadows. So I really liked that idea, that aspect of it. Like I think that it really helped like kind of like this, especially the payoff in the end, which I know we'll get to, but like I think it was a great way to like bringing them back was a great way to provide stakes in in this uh in the white space, like the unlike Sonic Generations where there was like, yeah, we're in the white space, there's no peril here. You know what I mean? Like, no, and there's genuine like like, what happens if I get to the finish line, quote unquote, like will I lose them again? Will I won't? Like it's just kind of it just helps that fear and that in that drive that Shadow has that I think it was a very clever inclusion, uh, making them not just like a moment to relive, but an actual part in this story was. I thought that was a really clever idea. Hmm. Hmm. I'm going to die. Right. Hmm. 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 Mhm, 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 mhm. Right. Yeah, it is very standalone, yeah. Mhm. Yeah, because it's you're in, like, the cyberspace, and then you get out. So it's kinda like it's a soft way of, "Yeah, we're gonna go back to this, but if this goes absolutely wrong, we have a way of getting out of it." Yeah. Mhm, 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 mhm. History. Yeah, yeah. Mhm, mhm. I thought that was very clever. So, the whole time I was kinda wondering how they're gonna tie into that, like, technically Shadow somehow has a boss fight, you know what I mean, in the middle of this. his own arc, and I thought that was a clever way of focusing in on like, yeah, it's a boss fight for Sonic, but yet it's really just Sonic, Emmett Shadow kind of. I almost kind of want to say toying with him a little bit. Like it's like Shadow. What was that? Yeah, it's like the whole time he's like, yeah, I mean, you know, we could really brawl out here, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of like, it's like it's like he not only just outsmarted him, but he also kind of like he knew exactly what was going to happen and he played into it, and that was the I thought that was a fun little twist, and honestly, kind of helps a little bit the ending of Sonic Generations a little bit. Doesn't change it much, but I think it does add a little bit of context to it. I think it helps it a little bit. Hmm. I would agree. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, I'm at a loss because I can't remember his voice actor, the voice acting. Who is it? Oh, you're right. You know what? I should have thought of that. I am actually kicking myself. Uh huh. That's that's very true though. Let's look at the track record here. Um, 100% of the time he's in it, I end up enjoying the game whether I know it or not. Hmm. Hmm. Near. Hmm. Yep. Hmm. There was one more. I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't watch it, but I did know that. Yeah. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just near twice. Oh, Ben Diskin? Yep. I did see his Twitter. Otherwise, I probably would not have recognized him. Mhm. Gotcha. Well, he Ben Diskin did a really good job because it totally did feel like him. Not a beard. I wish he was, but it's like, you had to do Frontiers since it's like a celebration, but at the same time, it didn't fit. Like it I mean, obviously it was a great stage, but like it didn't fit with Shadow's story at all. Like I was like, mhm, absolutely. Mhm, mhm, and mm, yeah, it gets a pass. Mhm. I was wondering if they would do something with Frontiers, to be honest with you. I thought maybe they would have, because it's kinda more on the Sonic side of things. I thought maybe they would have added it in a little bit, but or maybe like a secret level at the end, like they complete it, and then like as far as like story wise, that would make sense. I just Frontiers was interesting popping up at that point. Um, or at least oh, go ahead. I thought we were gonna at maybe there was gonna be like some sort story significance that like somehow Shadow was there too, or something. But that would be a really far stretch and honestly really distracting to the plot. So I get why they didn't do that. Hmm. Yeah. We also didn't get any vocal tracks um from that state those stages. Like there weren't any vocal tracks, and they weren't really the same tracks from that game either. They were kind of similar. Hmm. Hmm. They have like an ambiance. Hmm. I thought it was good. It wasn't bad. Uh, yeah, I just didn't like being stuck to the ground the whole time. That was kind of like my thing was like that was bothering me. But it was good. Mhm. 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 Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, that's 100% Venom. Mhm. 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 Um, it was. I'm trying to kind of think back to it a little bit. I enjoyed it. I think the wings made it kind of different. I I I will say like I enjoyed the wing mechanic. I thought it was really fun. Um, that said, though, I was kind of like at times like, okay, when am I going to be actually on the ground again? You know, um, s- so it was, yeah, I it's like you said, when it becomes a mechanic in the final boss, it's much different. Um, yeah, I thought Radical Highway was good. I like the aesthetic of it was really great. I just, to be honest with you, I don't really remember much about that stage other than just flying. And mhm. Can, uh, can you even do that? Like, is that stage even playable doing that? Okay. Hmm. 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 I could believe that. Hmm. I loved it. I thought it was a great final boss fight. Um, both both stages were, honestly, I just had a really great time with it. I mean, I just I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I was hoping for. It was just like I would say that was perfect. It was just a perfect boss fight. I mean, do I say I'm going to say that boss fight was 75% better than all of the Sonic Frontiers bosses. Like Sonic Frontiers bosses were great, but just the way it just, again, that it was just peak nostalgia for me. Like it was just like that final boss fight was like, because I told you I never finished the game. So like it was one of those types of things where like, okay, I feel like I'm finishing it this time. It's like, I haven't finished the game itself, but like it feels like I am getting catharsis on something that I never got to finish off. So, and honestly, probably will never will unless they decide to make remaster it. Um, which could be a possibility now that this has come out and Sonic 3 could really boom Shadow, and they might be like, hey, we got this game, we'll remaster it. I doubt it, but it's possible. I would agree with that. Mhm. 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 Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm. 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 Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Right. Mhm. 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 Right. You could tell the quality difference between, I mean, granted there's age difference too, like that's almost two console generations, but like you could definitely tell the quality difference between Sonic generations and and generations. That's true. Mhm. 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 Yeah. Well, w- yeah. I don't. I mean, there was what Sonic game came out last year? Superstars. Yeah, I don't know. It probably wasn't. But yeah, I think yeah, it's definitely a follow up to Frontiers. Um, gotcha. So, gotcha. 2021, was it Chaos? No, they weren't a part of that. No. Babylon's Fall. Trying to think 2021, what came out in 2021 in Square. What am I forgetting? Uh-huh. 2021 when we first saw it. It's not the Avengers, is it? That was in 2021. I don't think. I think that was 2019. I think it was pre-COVID. Oh, that one. Oh my gosh. Of course. Mhm, mhm. I think this is a big step up for the team, for the teams. Like it's hard because it's like I'm clearly a Shadow fan over Sonic, and it's like it's hard for me to be like, oh yeah, this story is really superior to um a lot of stories that I've seen from Sonic. But I gotta say, it is a really good game. Um, I really enjoyed it. Like Sonic Generations, I took my time with it. I had I had a blast with it. Uh, I got that done. I probably put about close to 10 hours into it. Uh, but granted, I would play that over time. That one took me about a week and a half to beat. Shadow Generations, I got done in like 2 days. Like I really played that game real quick. Like I was just like binging it, and it was great. I think it's not a perfect game, but I think IGN's rating is very accurate. I think this is a solid 9. Mhm, 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 yeah. Mhm, mhm, mhm. And it hasn't even been out that long. Mhm, Mhm. 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 It ain't happening. I think we've had similar conversations, like, in the past. I none of that is surprising to me. Like, I'm pretty sure we've had conversations with you going, "Yeah, it's never gonna happen." Mhm. Right. Mhm. 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 It would be funny. Probably. Mhm. 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 Um, mhm. Mhm. Yeah. It's a rough year. It's a very rough year. Yeah. No. Mhm. Yeah. That's the big snub of the night. That didn't get most anticipated game nominee. Mhm. Yeah, so sad. It's still possible. I'm still I'm still willing to bet it's January 26th. Like, it just follows the same release date as KH3. Yeah. Mhm. Right. Mhm. Mhm. That's okay, though. I knew it was gonna be big. And it just made the cut. Mhm. 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 Right. Mhm. 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 I was almost gonna mention maybe we should do that if we didn't do Sonic today, but I felt like we couldn't do the bracket without talking about it, so yeah. Mhm. 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 No, just play Shadow Generations. It's worth it. Worth the time. Yeah, it's decently priced. Oh, yeah. Mhm. That's right. Yeah, do it for Keanu. Mhm. Yeah, yeah, which it is. I mean, hey, you never know. Plus, I think he made the right choice. Just considering, I know that's a hard thing, but I think he's gonna have much more of a spotlight. I think, I think, like, no disrespect to the Acolyte. I mean, I haven't fully watched it yet. I've started it, but I think no, I haven't seen all of it yet. I know I'm so bad. I'm so behind on that. But I don't think if Keanu played a character in that show, I don't think it would be anywhere remarkable as what he could be in the Star Wars franchise. Like, absolutely, he should be in the Star Wars franchise, but I don't think that was the right fit for him. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I just picked it back up, so I'll probably be done with that soon. I just finished Agatha all along, so. Hmm. 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 That's peak. I get you. I really liked it. It was good. Um, I Yeah, I just had a fun time with it. I thought the concepts they introduced was very unique. I'm a little mixed on the ending, but as far as that goes, it was a really solid show. Have you watched it? Okay, it's worth the watch. Hmm. And I was too. Unfortunately, you will have this going at you, but I think it's not too far off the time to do it. But it is definitely a Halloween show. It is. It's just Halloween in spirit through and through. Like it's so. I mean, I they picked a really good time on releasing that show.